Dolphins fans, prepare yourself for this season. This is a rough schedule, and this is it. Record Predictions Episode 3. Welcome to the Big Z Breakdown. I'm your host, Mike Zanetti, and yes, it could be a stressful year for Miami Dolphins fans, considering I actually love the fact that they drafted Quinn Ewers in the 7th round. That is pretty crazy. We'll have to touch on it. I don't know if they go with Tua for the whole season, even if he does stay healthy. We know Tua Tagovailoa has had a problem with injury history. Week 2 of last year, another concussion, did not slide in that primetime game. It was very ugly, and we've seen that's like the 3rd or 4th concussion he's had. So I love the fact you drafted Ewers. They picked up Zach Wilson as a potential backup. Ewers was drafted in the 7th round. So honestly, he can fit that system for Mike McDaniels. You went up, you picked Nick Westbrook-Ikine in free agency. Apparently, they want to trade Jonnu Smith, so I'm not really too sure about that. The offensive line is pretty solid. I love the fact that they drafted Jonas Savonalea. They got James Daniels in free agency. I mean, it's not terrible, but Terron Armstead retiring definitely didn't help. The problem is he wasn't that great to begin with. When he came over from the Saints to the Dolphins, he kind of regressed a little bit. So again, Tua could have a little bit of a problem behind the offensive line. Devon Achane is now the new kind of running back, considering Raheem Mostert, although he did get hurt last year. He's now not on the team anymore. So it's Achane and Wright. Love to see how that 1-2 punch works out. Flipping it over to the defensive side, I love the pass rush for the Dolphins. This is going to be a great team. But the problem is the secondary. You can't really reason why that is bad. You have Jalen Ramsey, who is frustrated, who wants kind of out of the Dolphins again. I'm not too sure what the issue is there. And then your second cornerback is Cam Smith, who is apparently getting burnt toast by Jalen Waddle in OTA. So that is not a good sign. Storm Duck, I'll be honest, I don't even know who that is. And then Kader Kahu. I don't know any of these players' names, but apparently they're the cornerbacks for the Miami Dolphins. So that is looking a little bit grim, if you would. So not the best signs there. The good news for the Dolphins is you do get Bradley Chubb back off injury. You do get another player in Jalen Phillips off an injury. Again, 2 major injuries, but Chop Robinson stepped up last year. You drafted Kenneth Grant in the 1st round. So I'm interested to see how this pass rush is going to look, because you have Chop on one side and then Phillips on the other side. Does Bradley Chubb play coverage linebacker? He's a pass rusher as well. So that whole situation is crazy in terms of the 3 positional things. Phillips, Robinson, and Chubb are all listed as linebackers. So I'm sure one of them will go to the end. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Chop Robinson. But that's what we're looking at as far as the overview of this team. Last July, Tua signed a 4-year, $212 million contract. So despite the fact that he got paid a lot of money, 167 guaranteed, around $53 million a year, I feel like for a guy that you paid that much money for, and retiring isn't really an option after the last concussion, I was surprised. I'm sure a lot of people were, just that he came back and he's like, yeah, I'm going to continue to play football, because one more concussion might force him into retirement. We've seen past players like on the Texans, CJ Fedorowicz. He was forced to retire. He had like 8 concussions. So again, that is another scary situation. But the fact of the matter is he signed a big contract. And honestly, I feel like he's got to, no offense, live up to that, or else you can move on from him, because when you have all of that cap space going to one player, it's unlikely for you to, one, get other guys around you to succeed. Plus, the Tyreek Hill situation is going crazy with what he's saying off the field and the amount of money he's supposed to get and the player he's supposed to be. But that is another story. So when do you move on from Tua is my question to the Dolphins fans in the comments, because I feel like that should have been before you sign him to a massive contract. But again, there are not many other options at quarterback for you to win games right now. As far as Fedorowicz on the Texans, he didn't have 8 concussions. He had 4, but he had 3 in one season back in 2017. So again, scary situation for Tua considering he's getting up to that number. But time to do our record prediction for the Dolphins, and it's going to be a little bit ugly. And this is a team that can very well win 10 to 11 games max. I say max because their schedule isn't terrible, but there are a lot of young teams that they have to play. Just to run a few names for you. Week 1, the Colts. Richardson might be on his game. Who knows? The Patriots with Drake May. Bills, that's a tough one. Jets with Justin Fields, that's a wild card. Panthers with Bryce Young. The Chargers and Jim Harbaugh with Herbert. The Browns is probably a nice one. Falcons with Michael Penix. He could come out the gate storming and throwing a bunch of passes. I like that offense. Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington. New Orleans is a nice one. The Jets probably will go 1-1. Maybe sweep them. Who knows? Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, New England. I mean, you have about 8 to 9 teams on here that were winning records, if not playoff teams last year. The Bills twice. The Panthers are up and coming. I know they're not playoff team. Chargers, Ravens, Commanders, Bengals are playoff worthy. The Bucks. I mean, that is tough. So, I mean, not to mention the Bills twice. So that's 7. But, again, realistically, Miami's a good team. Mike McDaniels knows what he's doing. So, I'm not going to say Mike McDaniel doesn't know what he's doing. He's got a great offense, but at one point during the season, you could just say, I think we'd go with another direction at quarterback. But again, we'll see how the season goes as far as the week 1. Colts, I think they can win that game. The Patriots, I'll say they win that one too. So 2-0 to start the year. Then you play Buffalo. That's 2-1. The first 5 weeks, I'll give you 4-1. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt over the Jets early in the season and Carolina early in the season. Now, Carolina's a weird one, but I'll give it to you. Chargers, that's a loss. Cleveland, you can win that one. Falcons, Ravens, lose. But I actually think they could split with the Bills this year. As crazy as it sounds, last year, Miami lost by 3. They've been really close. I'll give them the split with Buffalo, but I'll have to give them a little bit of a weirder loss like Atlanta. Washington, they lose. They go on a bye. They beat the Saints, lose to the Jets, lose to the Steelers, lose to the Bengals. You can beat the Steelers or the Jets or even both of them. But 9-10 wins is still nothing that stands out to me. I don't even know if you as a wild card team can get in as a 9-10 win team with Denver, with the Chargers. The Jaguars could be up and coming. So this AFC is stacked as we know it, and I don't think 9-10 wins is going to be enough for that 6th or 7th wild card spot. So I actually have them beating Tampa Bay, as crazy as it is, and then they'll lose to New England. So 8-9 record for my prediction. You can scream at me in the comments all you want, but I feel like New England's going to be a better team by the second half of the season. They're going to want to win as many games as possible. Mike Vrabel's a tough head coach. You have a first-year head coach in Aaron Glenn, who's another wild card. So I'm going to have you split in every divisional game this year. You go 3-3, just because it's so unknown and so crazy that I don't really have a read on any of these teams. So the Dolphins and Tua, they have a solid offense, but the question is, you flip over to the defensive side, and who is going to cover anybody? Who's going to cover outside of Ramsey? Who's going to be the number 2 that goes off against the Dolphins? So it's a tough record, 8-9, I know, but I'll give them second in the division because they do have more AFC wins in terms of conference over the Patriots, but it's still that tough up in the air kind of thing. You beat a lot of teams, but can you win enough games to get into the playoffs? I gave them that weird win against Tampa Bay because I had them lose to Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh is also a weird team because they can get into the playoffs with Mike Tomlin, considering he's been a 500 record for the past, 2 decades. So, again, I got hope for the Dolphins. I feel like now is a little bit of a reset. You might get knocked down a little bit. You might have to question a few things, whether you're going to go off of quarterback, you're going to change a couple things. I think the secondary needs work. Yes, Ashton Davis is a beast. Yes, Jalen Ramsey's good, but for how long? For how much longer are you going to have those guys on defense? Not only the fact of offense, too, with Tua. I love the offense, don't get me wrong, but Tyreek has been saying a lot of garbage about the team, and I don't think that's very good, especially the fact that the Dolphins wanted to trade him. He said, get me out of Miami last year when the season was over. Now he wants to stay. I have no idea what's going on with Tyreek Hill, but that is for another day. Let me know your record prediction in the comments. This is going to be a very tough prediction for some people, but it's going to be fun in terms of just the people that think the Dolphins are going to be 11 wins, because I don't, no offense, think anyone is competing with the Buffalo Bills for that division. I'm not going to say how many wins they have, but I have them pretty hefty up in the AFC in terms of 1 and 2. So if you want to check out that video, that'll be next, and that'll be the end of the AFC. We're going to get more consistent here. Video every other day. So stay on the lookout for the Bills. Appreciate you watching. Hit that sub button if you're new. It's been Mike Zanetti with the Big Z Breakdown.
Times like this, it either makes or breaks you. And I want to rip the Band-Aid off, because here's what you got to know. Our intent is to be great. Well, inherent in that is difficulty. Like, you literally have to have difficult to be great.